Champion podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
On this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr., we welcome back PBA star Nate Garcia and PWBA star Elise Bolton. They will talk about the upcoming seasons, and there's some controversy lately at a Tampa tournament where they both got banned. I can't wait to hear all the details of that. It's always going to be a fun show with these two, so we can't wait. Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. starts now.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop.
Hey y'all, Jacob Wetrup here.
Jeff Riggles here from 11thframe.com.
Hey guys, Chuck Ritchie here, formerly of Bowl TV.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Schaefer of track staff at Valley Bowling Center in Waverly, New York.
And you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Yo, the boys from Straight Up 5, Rad Rob, Dr. Ocho, and of course, JP Jr.
As you know, JP Jr. used to be introduced as the sexiest man in bowling, and now the world. But he doesn't have the best hair in the world. I do. Sorry, bud, but you know the deal. Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation.
Strike, and they claim it. Somebody does it.
So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob Francois. Rad Rob Francois. Dr. Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. It is January 8th, 2025, our first show of the new year. It is episode 141. I am still your fat and happy host, Rad Rob Francois. Maybe I'll be less fat before the year ends. It's too early to tell. Speaking of fat, let me introduce my first co-host. He is the man with the golden mask. He still has the largest biceps. I don't know, unless he ate too much over the holiday season. He's probably gonna kill. If he's gonna kill me, he could literally squeeze my head off with his arms. But that's maybe not my. If I had a neck, maybe he could squeeze my head off. But irregardless, he is the one and only Dr. Ocho. What's up, Och? Happy New Year, you dumb son of a bitch.
Likewise, except I have a doctorate, therefore I am a smart son of a bitch. Rob, maybe that's how we can find your neck. If I put a little cranker lock on it, maybe like it would, like Stewie's head is misshapen like this. You just have to squeeze it and make it symmetrical. I get the old neck cranker on there. It wouldn't be called a neck crank. It'd be called a where is my neck crank, I guess.
That's fair. That is fair.
So for New Year's, everybody, let's all find Rob's neck. Let's do that. We should all band together for this.
Hashtag find Rob's neck. Yes. Put that up in the
Save
chat.
Ferris. They're from Ferris Bueller.
What's going on, man? You look good. You shined your mask up nice and shiny. Did you have a good holiday?
You bet I did. I always look good. Come on. Besides the fat, I'm looking good.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, me too.
Asshole.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, it happens. It's life. Especially when you're a girl dad, you're gonna get.
That's all right. You're just a girl, period.
Oh,
so at least your chest is. All right. Who's else coming here? Who else is bringing in? We're bringing him in. Where are we going?
I don't know where he is. Is he with you? He's not with me.
Zoinks!
There he is, JP Jr.
Zoinks!
I didn't know you had a couch.
He does have a couch. And,
I've never seen the couch.
I have normal Ocho products. Like, I'm not a freaking.
I've done 800 episodes of various podcasts with you, and I've never seen your couch.
He doesn't really like sitting down, to be honest.
That's true.
Plus, the lights are on too. Remember, usually that's my Ranger TV where
I'm
motionless and you see the TV in the background. Then
I gotcha. What up, JP? How you doing, buddy?
Welcome everybody to 2025. I am 2025 isn't ready for me and my goals this year. So look out. Yeah. So far, my goals for 2025 is avoid my favorite place in the world for at least the next 7 days. So the early the first timers at the gym can just fucking clear out.
The yearly noobs.
Yeah. That's why I stay away from Popeyes because same reasons.
Too many people in the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
Chuck, literally, that's exactly why one of the reasons I'm here tonight is
we have chat here. I forgot to say hey to the chat.
Oh shit! Is that right? What happened?
I'm so excited to see Ocho and you, Johnny, that I forgot to say hi to our chat. Who we got? We got Nico Puhar. He is always in the chat. He's our resident statistician. We have a visitor from Nate and Elise channel, Matt Slater. Good evening. P. Cow's in the house. What's going on, brother? Happy New Year. Crambone, Happy New Year to you. Has the doctor's biceps gotten... Hold on, there's more to that. Have they gotten any bigger?
Can they? I mean, they probably could. They're not even like...
That's like saying, can I eat more than a 20-piece? I mean,
yes, of course. Goals are limitless on this channel.
Alex Bermudez, what's going on? Bonus nachos from behind the drill press in Modesto, California. What's going on? Billy M is here. Billy M's here. We got Dumma 2. What's going on? Welcome to the show. Welcome to all of our newcomers.
Absolutely.
Nico says, good luck to the Steelers. Well, that's...
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they need freaking rocket launchers, and they'll still lose because they suck. Because Mike Tomlin is a fraud.
Carmelo. Oh, what can I expect with IQ 78? We will get into that. But welcome to the show. PD is here.
You can get a handicap sticker with that. I know that.
Sprone says if you squeeze Rob's head / neck, it would leak Popeye's grease. That
is the truest.
And then we'd slip off. That's Rob's defense mechanism. Like octopi shooting out ink. That's what Rob does.
That's it.
Happy birthday, Nicole.
Hi, I'm super excited to be able to wish Ocho a happy birthday today.
Yeah, we're excited every day. We hear that too. So
we love it. I haven't heard that in almost a year.
Happy birthday.
We're getting 6 to 8 inches, Nico, which is more than my wife gets every night.
Yeah,
let's see.
Times.
Casey Custer, what's happening? What's going on, Dan?
He gets in a year.
Hello, everybody.
By choice.
Let's not waste any more time. Let's bring in.
Well, definitely, especially happy New Year to everybody, and thanks for all being here already. And looking forward to our first show of the new year with 2 of our most honored guests and our favorite guests.
Yeah,
we're all favorites, but
I mean, everyone's. Yeah, I mean, we don't. No, we do have favorites.
Wink.
No, we have favorites. These 2 are my favorites. But either way, let's bring them in. The one and only from YouTube, from the world of professional bowling. The 2s. Can we? How am I gonna say this? Johnny, you're known as the most sexiest man in the world. Blah blah blah. But I mean, I think these 2 are like.
Well, I'm definitely not Long Nate. If that's
nobody is. Well, except for
he's certainly got me beaten in 2 areas now: bowling and the pants party.
Yeah, gotcha.
Go to the pants party.
The party.
Everyone's invited.
Cough.
Party. All right, I'm filibustering. Let's bring him in. Nate and Elise, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the show.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
You guys are absolutely hysterical. I was crying the entire intro. That was absolutely hilarious.
I was too, but only because I sat on my nards talking to Rob.
I'm just sad Rob didn't introduce me as his first fat and happy guest of 2025 So,
I mean, do I have? I mean,
well,
he takes the cake always.
Rob usually doesn't like to lie, so that's why
you bailed me out on that one, Johnny. Yeah, you don't know what I'm gonna say on that one, but PD says ban them from the show.
I'm surprised that we're still allowed to be on here.
Yeah, I know. Wow.
I think this is your safe haven because we're banned from everything. So
yeah, you're not banned from the show yet, but apparently you are banned from a tournament. We're gonna get to that in a second. But Derek Michaud is in the house. What's going on, Derek? So,
I love that if they're not on a cruise, I'm disappointed. I love that.
Actually, I'll be on a cruise next week, so we won't be. I'm not doing the show from the fucking cruise.
Unreal.
My wife.
Oh my god! If you would have,
where's your loyalty?
If you would have asked us in 2 weeks, we would have been on a cruise. So at the end of the month, we're going to be on a cruise. You should have asked us then.
Well, you know, you guys don't.
He's probably going to rebook now.
He might.
You guys don't text me anymore.
But then you have a chance of capsizing.
I don't know what's going on in your lives unless I text Nate. But hey, whatever.
I was going to say I don't have your number, so
it's fine.
Do not give him your number.
No, you do no. Nate, don't give her my number.
I want
Chuck-
to jump into Rob what you said in the text, which is
hold on, Johnny. Hold on. It's a very pressing
Absolutely
question
not.
from Chuck.
Is that
There's been some recent controversy over what Elise wears under her pants lately when she bowls. So
Chuck is a
What if I'm not wearing any underwear? Like, that's my thing.
well? That's again, that's how you-
I mean, that's your personal choice.
Lines.
I don't see the
I'm
issue.
not wearing underwear.
Then you don't have the what is it called? VPL, the visible panty line, I think they call it.
Yeah, well, mine was visible, just shorts underneath my shorts that have existed for like years. That
Forever,
apparently men think on granny panties, which is fine.
I love what Dan Dalton just.
You got to
wrote.
keep yourself tucked in.
Dan, I feel the exact same
Really
way.
hard when you're this big.
Please.
And the smackdown she puts on the trolls.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Fucking
it's-
A.
And it's quick, and it always makes sense. She always basically tells them to go fuck themselves without telling them.
Whoa. I've never
without
said
saying
that out loud.
On our show, there is.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want here. Nobody watches. So, all right. Anyways,
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
Johnny, go ahead. Jump into your.
I have a funny story that I actually didn't say online, but we can get to that later.
Okay. All right.
You're our guest. You want to share it now?
It's just about that I didn't share this because I was like, it meant a lot that the wife reached out to me, but I had a wife reach out to me from a husband that I called out. And she was like, my husband is calling you right now. I'm making him call you to apologize. And I'm like, whoa, like he doesn't have to do that.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I felt like, I was like, I'm sure a lot of my people would have liked to see that. But again, like what I do is not to actually like cause a problem. It's to just obviously, like you said, just say a little bit of like, go fuck yourself without saying it, to just
Which
show
could bring some self-awareness too to these people. So it's not like you're not even, helping them in any way. But so did he?
No, so she was going to, and like I said, my point of my post is to just show everyone to kind of just do their own thing. Like, don't be afraid of being yourself online. It's not really.
Yeah, who cares what people say? Sure.
Yeah, it's not really to like get into people's marriages, but it was in that case. Like, she's like, I'm really glad that he learned his lesson, and like, I guess he has like sisters and stuff that. She's like, I'm so embarrassed, but I didn't like that people. The reason why she found out is because people were attacking her in her DMs, being like, your fiance is whatever.
Was he doing something misogynist or something like that, or like freaking chauvinistic?
He was calling me fat. Like it was something about like what I was wearing, saying like calling me a cow or something. And I just said something back like, I hope you don't treat your fiance like this. And then I guess people were like messaging her being like, do you see what your fiance is saying? But yeah, it was crazy. Like I had this whole conversation with this lady where she's like, I think he learned his lesson, so it's like, in some respect, I'm not trying to do it that way. And I didn't share that later because I'm like, you know what? That's not for the public.
Well, he already lost big time. I mean, like he's the humiliation is already, you won 1,000 times over.
Yeah. So yeah, I did. I've never told that story. I didn't post it about that conversation I thought about. And I was like, you know what? It is what it is, but it is funny that something out of my post came out good for a relationship in someone else's life.
Now 5 of people know it.
Yeah. So now people know it. So you guys just got an inside story.
We always get breaking news and inside shit here on the show.
That was technically unfettered, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, part of it.
Part of it.
All right.
Johnny, I'm sure your question is the same as Jeff Skyers
right.
here.
Honestly, Jeff Skyers just asked about it too. When you had reached out and saying that you wanted to have Elise and Nate back on, Jeff Skyers says, "Good evening, everyone, and happy New Year to you as well, Jeff."
This is
I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas this year. But the question he originally had was, can you elaborate what happened at the Tampa tournament? Were you both banned from, or one of you banned from?
Oh well.
I was looking.
They're a package deal, right?
Yeah, we're a package deal. That's what we kind of learned with the band is that we're a package deal, which that comes with being.
Long Nate knows about packages, obviously.
Whoa.
Hey, Johnny taught me a thing or two, so that's
he knows.
Thanks.
Game recognizes game.
Nice.
But yeah, I guess to elaborate and to entertain everybody that has taken the time out of their beautiful Wednesday night to come hang out with us. Nick, I love that.
What does that mean?
Inside joke. But yeah, so number one, they're probably watching, so I'm not going to give them as much clout as they want to, but I'm just going to say a tournament that is frequently ran in Tampa. People can put 2 and 2 together now. One of their tournament directors was not a fan, and I'm not going to speak for you, Elise. I don't know much about this situation, so I can't speak on it because, I wasn't there for the time, nor did I know the people at the time. But one of the tournament directors did not appreciate Elise giving a warning to a GM or somebody high up at the center that we practice at about a certain individual.
This didn't happen at a tournament, by the way. We didn't even get to the tournament.
No, we didn't get to the tournament. We were
man, you started the fire prior. Okay.
Yeah.
We planned to bowl their tournament, and
we bowl their tournament. Well, I don't as much.
Well, I was a big supporter of their tournament because of one of the tournament directors that I used to support. But like I was saying, Elise let one of the higher ups at the center know about what this individual did in his past or was allegedly behaviors in his past, whatever. And then the higher up showed that person pretty much say, hey, did you commit this murder? Like kind of thing, that kind of scenario. And they got defensive and we were just told we're banned.
Yeah.
Don't come back, huh?
So I didn't break any of their rules.
Yeah.
I have done nothing but support their tournaments, especially after at certain events that I would be getting threatened by. I was tried to be brought into fights. Someone allegedly tried to harm me in a way that I really don't want to talk about in description online, but not that way.
Okay.
But like,
the point is after other stuff happened, we still supported because we're just that type of people. Like it just,
sure.
I had already told Nate I didn't want him to support these tournaments for a while because of what I did end up speaking on. But again, Nate is supportive to the other person. So he wanted to just, he didn't listen to me, which is fine. Like he needs to bowl and I bowled some stuff, but yeah, I guess it got to the point where I was like, all right, well, if people are going to keep supporting actions that are not okay, I'm just the person where it's like, I'd rather take the moral high ground than.
And now, mind you, there are people that have commented worse about the tournament. There have been people that have commented worse about the tournament directors. They have been vocal. They have caused fights. They have done all of this. They've even done things that led them to be in jail. And those people are allowed to still bowl.
Holy shit.
I did not know the main streets of Tampa, Florida was a fucking hotbed for crime and
it's kind of the whole like bowling.
Well, all those people are not necessarily from Tampa.
Yeah.
I want to interject real quick, Nate and Elise. So, Elise, you went to one of the higher ups of this center that this tournament was going to be hosted in because of one of the two tournament directors in a tournament series, I presume. Like they've run tournaments in the past already.
It's a weird situation, but individuals like somehow put themselves in like where they're in charge of almost like everything in Tampa. So that's where the situation is, where it's like when you're forced to have to only bowl this person's tournaments because everyone else has been like almost run out of Tampa. And then, like I said, there's some other things to it, which again, like Nate said, we don't care enough to like give them any more clout or like even speak on it, which is why I didn't really say anything. It was just like a joke of like me and Nate have never been banned from anything. Like that's what the whole thing was, is like me and Nate doing something new in 2025 kind of thing. And we honestly, like, to be honest, do not think people care enough about our lives to even like care. We thought it would just be like funny joke, move on. And we couldn't believe how many people reached out and were like, oh yeah, that's why I don't bowl that tournament. Or, oh yeah, we already kind of know the situation. So it wasn't until really I made that joking post about being banned because we were just doing big things that we realized like, oh, okay, like this was actually a bigger situation than we realized until like we got put into a situation kind of thing. And again, it's not even worth speaking about sometimes because,
that makes for good content.
If you don't want to keep talking about it, we don't have to. But I do have
more.
No,
I just saying in general.
Questions if you want to.
Yeah, I guess I want to stay on this here because now you said this tournament director, one of which, Nate, at least you were in support of for an extended period of time. I'm assuming is now merged with this other person who has a bad history for whoever it may be and whatever they may have done or continue to do within the bowling world, especially, or in the world in general. And now that they've teamed up and they've basically, you said
they've always been teamed up, but we've just supported because we're those type of people that if we support one person, like we're like, okay, like we support you because we believe in you. And if this is who you're aligned with, okay, like we don't really have a choice. And we like knew that. So again, from the beginning, it's like we know, like we already knew it was a bad situation, but we have loyalty to one person. So we're willing to overlook, you know, not
I get it.
Kind of thing. So like, no, they've always been working together. And then
if they're the only game in town, I mean, the only game in town that I had growing up in the Northeast was JBT's. And aside from being a wonderful series of tournaments for an extended period of time, the biggest thing that always drove me, even when I was younger, was first off, I had all of my, I'll say this publicly, I went to bowl a Jim Lustig tournament in New York when I was still a youth bowler. And when I paid the entry fee for the tournament, they didn't have the SMART program at that point. And I signed a letter at the counter saying that if I win any money in this tournament, I won't accept it. Give it to the person that finishes behind me. I'm not allowed to accept money.
Oh, wow.
I wound up finishing second behind Joe Stillman, believe it or not, when I was like 16, 15 years old. And word got back to the tournament director of my junior bowlers tour, and they took every dollar from my my account that had been accumulated for 6 or 7 years up to that point.
Oh,
and the worst part about it is aside from that, which when I really look at it in the grand scheme of things, they tried to get me thrown out of juniors when I bowled in the Celebrity Pro-Am at my dad's event. But when I look past all of that, the biggest thing that always bugged me about that tournament series was they also said you had to maintain a B average your first year of college. Mm-hmm. And you had to go to college right out of high school. Mm-hmm. So like my good friend Jen Russo had like nearly $30,000 in scholarship money. She chose to try the ladies tour her first year out of college, and they took all her money.
Oh my God.
So it was always crooked. It was always crooked to some extent. And but I guess where I was going with this is it was the only game in town. So if you're supporting one of the tournament directors because they're the only game in town, I get it. I guess what my question is what made you guys feel the need to say this to this person at this time, if it's already apparently public knowledge? And respectfully, I know who you're talking about. Because
that's what I was going to ask too. It's not like you blew the lid off of anything.
One of my groomsmen in my wedding was sponsored by who I think you're talking about for a long time. So I know a lot about this too. I'm just curious, like, what made it come up?
So, okay. So like, cause I was the one who brought it up.
I have to take my shirt off. I'll be right back. It's too hot in here.
No, do it right now. No, don't.
Just do it on camera. What do you?
Like, I mean, just my sweatshirt.
No.
Isn't the point? Isn't this the point of the show? Like,
there's so much hair on my chest right now because it's the winter. It's gross. All right, I'm ready. Good.
So again, there's a lot of other like pieces put to this, but this person has already caused other issues outside of this. And it was one of those where it's like, I can only take so much where someone tries to like cause issues in my life for just no reason before I'm just like, all right, you want me to be nice and like play nice with you. And you've openly like, there was an issue. This had nothing to do with me, but the same tournament, but kind of like a different tournament run by the same person was called out for the money that got taken out of the tournament. So this was not me, like other people, it blew up on social media. So there was already a lot of pieces of people, like, it wasn't just what I said. It was just like a lot of like the money, then this kind of thing where I was just like, all right, like I'm done playing nice. And this person had already caused another issue before this. And I was like, all right, look, if I appreciate like the center and everything they've done for me, but I'm like, if you guys support this person and you're so deep with this person, then I'm starting to question the morals. And this isn't the GM. Again, this is a person who just works at the center. I'm like, now I'm starting to question the morals of like who we're working with. And I'm like, if this person you're putting like your 100% behind, I'm like, I don't even know if we align. And that's why I said it. It wasn't to like actually like cause a problem. It was really to be like, all right, if this is who you're backing, then like I need to step away because I'm not sure that.
Well, they kind of did you a favor then, really, right? You know, because like this way you don't have to have the moral configuration in your brain of like, am I doing the right thing by bowling in it? So now they got the answer for you.
Meanwhile, AJ is going to go there and shoot 900 and win everything. So
exactly. Not only that, I would bowl the events, and I would get talked badly about from the tournament director.
Openly, he said that.
Oh my God!
Openly at those tournaments, and not only that, but at tournaments that he would show up to sponsoring another athlete, he would be talking crap and rooting against me.
And then that same person would
and
ask.
I have never said one bad thing to that person.
That's fucked up.
That tournament director, to his face, I've never said one bad thing.
Almost like a deflective tactic to take the attention off themselves.
Yeah.
And mind you, 2 weeks before this, that same person who is involved with someone asked Nate for help with their YouTube. And it's like, yeah. So it's like you ask for help in certain situations, but then you turn around and openly say stuff. And then it's like, we're still playing nice, but you're openly not. It's like, all right, I'm done playing nice. Like, I'm a very like nice person, but it's like when it's
now your integrity is getting called out, and like now, and they're just throwing it in your face too. Like they're not even like hiding it at this point.
The straw for me was
so up there.
Yeah, for me, it's when we were basically like told, like, if you go to social media with this, it's going to be a bigger issue for you. And I'm like, no, it's going to be a bigger issue for you. Like, don't threaten me with that. Like, because it's not that I want to use my pool for bad. And that's not what the point was. But it's like, the whole point is like, in general, like, tournament directors need to be better in general. Like, I think around the country that, when it comes to money or anything, like, we've already had so much stuff come up in Tampa. And I've seen it, we see it online all the time where I'm like, we need tournament directors that actually care about bowling. And we actually had an issue with like the handicap rating of like no tournament averages. So the same people come in and shoot 240 with 50 pins of handicap, where it's like, there's just been a lot of things where I'm like, I just want tournament directors to actually care about like people getting better and like bowling versus just making money and like hosting as many tournaments as they can just to like fill their bank account. Like, it should be about bowling still to some extent.
Couldn't agree more.
Can I ask you guys one thing? And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but like, why in the bowling industry can we not all win together? Why is it like everybody has to, and I'm not talking about this situation, I'm just talking about a lot of things that like reminded me of this. Like, why does everybody have to go after like their own dollar and we can't grow together? Like, why can't we uplift somebody else that's on the same track as us and like go help them and like want them to succeed and want them to get their money and want them to, build their brand? Like, why is it all about just ripping each other down instead of, pushing each other to be better? Like, that's all we do. Like, we don't
answer.
That's just society.
I mean, Johnny's seen it all, so
I feel like
I'm sure Johnny has a unique perspective on that.
My answer to that, aside from society kind of swaying that way, especially in recent years where everybody's out for their own agenda, remember a couple things about bowlers. There are certain bowlers like myself, Nate, and Elise who view bowling as a sport, as a way to, cater to your own livelihood. We demand and expect the same courtesies that we dish out. Whereas the recreational player, the league player, the guy that's running that $10 card game at your local scratch league that's got 26 players and it pays $100 a game, he's running that card game for a little bit of the side he's going to capture. The guy who's got the bracket man program and the brack man program. Brackets pay 25 and 10, but a bracket's 8 guys, which is $40. You got 50 brackets. That guy's making $5 a bracket just to run those. You get another guy who says, shit, my team is struggling this year, so I have to make sure that I bowl. I have to go out of my way to deliberately not strike as much or miss more spares than I normally do, so my average is low enough so I can get more handicapping it in the handicap brackets and steal this $80 pot.
Mm-hmm.
People are cutthroat because for the most part, recreational and league bowlers are blue-collar workers that for the majority work from and live paycheck to paycheck. This is not like golf where everybody that's committed to golf has a lot of money from the start. You don't see a golfer go to the driving range with a fucking bag from 1980 and somebody picks him up and says, I'm going to give you a contract for clubs. It doesn't happen, Whereas in bowling, people are like, I'm just gonna throw this out there. One of our buddies that's in the chat right now got a shirt contract, and I'm not sure he averages 150. So people are very. I think when it comes to people like this in this industry, I think that it's a little bit more, it's a little bit less of a gentleman and a gentlewoman's game in that respect. And people are always looking out to line their own pockets. Me personally, half the time I don't get into any side pots, because if I ever win a pot, aside from hearing "how's the left," especially from Jim Rogers, who I love very much, I always hear "how's the left," and then I always hear "fucking Johnny's son. How the fuck am I going to beat a pro? This fucking asshole shouldn't be getting in here stealing our money." It's always something negative. So I just don't get in fucking pots. I get drunk. And then when I get drunk, they all say, "Johnny's son is such a fucking lush. He's a loser. He's an idiot. There's no way he's ever going to carry his dad's legacy." I hear it from fucking every direction. But on Tuesday nights at Majestic, I bowl with a team of absolute misfits who their only job there is to have a fucking great time. It's my favorite night of the year, of the week. So I guess, like, in context, to answer the question, I feel like we want bowlers to have more integrity than they do. And just in the broad sense, most of them don't.
Yeah. And I understand that, I understand it from like an athlete side of it. It is cutthroat. Like, we're bowling to make money. Like your pay is determined on how well you perform. I understand that. The other side that I'm getting to is like, as a tournament director or as like, a promoter of the sport, and you're trying to grow tournaments and you're trying to, have a good place for people to come to in a tournament atmosphere. Why can't we all be supportive? Why can't those tournament directors, like, if you like, there's a difference between caring about the bowler and their experience versus just seeing dollar signs when you walk into the building. And I feel like, I'm not saying all, but for example, like, I think that specific, all they care about is the dollar sign. They don't care about the experience, because of the situations that I have been in. I have been in where I bowled a tournament and someone wants to fight me and they're allowed to go bowl next week, but I'm not allowed to bowl because I didn't say anything. Like, I just hate that we're ripping people down, and it's almost like if you're cutting corners, you're doing the right thing. Yeah. And I don't think that that's correct. So
that's a really, really, really great point, dude. I promise I was listening to every word you said while Ocho was opening the window, because maybe it's his size or his bicep peaks, but whatever it is, I'm like flaming hot right now. I radiate. I'm having a hard time with this.
I'd be nervous too.
Matt Slayer says, "I get what you're saying, Nate, but wouldn't that cut out the competition of the sport?"
No, I'm strictly talking about the non-bowling side of it. Obviously the bowling side of it, I bowl against some of the best in the world. I bowled alongside them. I understand we have to bowl. I'm putting up all my money every time I bowl. Like, when it comes to like how many brackets there are, what's the entry, what's the high game. Like, I get that. It's the more of like, when me and Elise, like, we've created the YouTube space to provide, entertainment for everybody to come and watch and see what we do on a daily. We give back to our community. We don't hoard all of our bowling balls. We're not one to just put a ball video out, hope you buy it. It's going to come back in our pocket. We don't do that. We're literally we give a lot of our stuff away. We want our fans to have the same experience, as close to the same experience that we have. And some of the things that maybe I didn't have growing up as a kid, like, I would go to the bowling center and I didn't have the newest ball. I would have to ask, people older than me, "Hey, do you have any bowling balls you want to get rid of?" And sometimes they're 3 drillings deep on that ball, but I would throw it and it was new to me, and I would have to learn how to make it work where they get a new ball every other week. Sure. I want to be able to give back to the community and be like, well, I don't know who this person is, but they took the time to watch our video, subscribe and like, and do all of that stuff. I have no problem signing a ball and giving it away, or I have no problem getting them a brand new ball because they entered this giveaway. Like, I want to do that for them. And I just feel like today that's not reciprocated, like, for some of the people that are at that level, even the tournament directors, like, they're doing 50-50s and they're taking half of the profit and just putting it in their pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
like, what's the point of the 50-50?
That's, yeah.
I forgot about that already.
Like,
Such a great point.
That's not a 50-50.
That's not a 50-50. You're just
yeah. Actually, that's a 25-75.
Yeah.
So,
Like, to be honest, like, you know, obviously everyone wants to make money, but like, again, I'm on the side of like, I want bowling to be better. And like, if I honestly was to run a tournament, I already told Nate, like, I used to run tournaments. I haven't done it in a while, but I would like give like 80% of the bracket money to put back in the prize fund, because it's like, you know, obviously he gets to bowl whatever he can get in brackets. He still has to bowl well to get there, but it's like that little bit of bracket money can also like fund another spot in the tournament to make someone want to come back and bowl. So like just little things like that. And again, I get most people are in the business of making money, but there is different ways like that you can still run a tournament and like give back to the bowlers, or like not taking out. And this isn't just this specific tournament. We've seen it at tournaments around the country. As you know, me and Nate travel like almost everywhere. And it's like those little bit of like $10 that they take out of every high game. And it's like, does that $10 really mean that much more to you when you're already making 1,000, where it really means more to the bowler?
That's so awful too.
I want to ask Elise something. Is that cool?
So,
what are you asking me for?
Hey, Rob, can you go back to Chris Barber? Chris Barber said something like 3 or 4 posts ago.
Yeah, let's see.
I want to give my 10 cents, but then I actually, you know, whoever wants to take it, whether it's Nate or Elise or both, I want you guys to answer this question too. Chris Barber asks, why do scratch bowlers get penalized in a league or a competition or a tournament? Chris, my answer to this has always been the same, and I always relate it to other sports. Like when you're a baseball player and you're in college, you get to use metal bats. And then once you get to the pros, or even single A for that matter, you have to swing wood. There are thousands and thousands of ball players that can hit a baseball 400-something feet at 120 or 110 mile an hour launch speed off their bat, especially with metal. But there's only about 2 or 3% of those guys that can hit it just as far with wood. So it's easy to weed those players out in baseball. And because there's no outside variables in baseball that changes anything about who's better or who's worse, and PEDs are not allowed, you can pretty much find the cream of the crop. In golf, let's say I'm a 10 handicap golfer and I go out and I play with somebody who's a +2 handicap golfer. He's going to be obviously playing from 7,000 yards, but I'm going to play from
6,300.
Maybe the men's tees, maybe like the standard white tees, and I'm like 700 yards closer. The biggest separation in golf is the approach shot club that they use, which if you ever watch the PGA Tour and they're hitting driver on the first tee or 3-wood or whatever it is, their approach shot into the green is usually a 7-iron or less.
Or less, very much
It's
so.
very, very rare that you see a pro hit a drive and then have to take out a 4-iron or a 5-wood just to get to the green. It doesn't happen.
Not on a par 5. On
Right.
a par 4.
A par 5 is different. On a par 5, that same guy may go driver 3-wood and be on the green when you have to go driver 7-iron, 7-iron, or driver 3-wood, 9-iron, whatever it may be.
You're hitting it right, perfect.
But the big thing is the approach shot. So the whole point of taking a 10 handicap in golf is because they get to play 700 yards less. And ideally, all that means is if you and the scratch golfer both ace your drives, you're both going to have a 7-iron or less into every par 4. You're both going to play approximately the same club on a tee shot of a par 3. And then the real determining factor is who's going to 1-putt or 2-putt every single green. So that separation is understandable in golf. When you go out on a house shot, I've watched some bowlers that are just god-awful, and they beat me on league night because one night may dictate that they're going to do so. The constant variables in this sport and the fear of the better player, if they're the slightest bit hard and that average Joe's ball doesn't hook off the gutter or doesn't hold when they yank it 3 hours or 3 arrows, there's no way to separate them. So people who feel inferior in our sport, they don't have an out to get away from it. So the biggest thing that they do is say, fuck this guy, ban him. Don't allow him to bowl in our tournaments anymore, because no matter what I do, I can't be better than him. I am flat out telling you I am inferior and I can't beat him. So I don't want
take him
here.
out. I'm not going to get any better.
It's the only sport I know where not only do they not want you to be good, they don't even want to give you a chance to be good.
100%.
Well, I think
I agree more with that, honestly. Like, I don't want to cut you
Well, no,
off, but like,
I want you both to
yeah, literally what Johnny said, like, you couldn't be more spot on, is that I've never been in a sport to where the better you get, the more you are looked upon as what not in a good light. You like, and it depends on your environment too. Obviously, like league, there's a reason I don't bowl league anymore is because you literally get nothing but complainers. And, they complain about like, oh my God, like he's averaging so high, he wins all the brackets, blah, blah, blah. But then the week that I shoot 630, everything's fine. It does depend on the environment you're in. It depends on what you're bowling on. You have to know what you're signing up for. So if you're going to a tournament that's house shot 90% of 230 and you're a pro or you're somebody at a higher level and you know what you're getting into, you know that day you better not miss and shoot anywhere from 240 to 279 every single game if you want to turn a profit.
Yep.
But yeah, I was leading with something and I just forgot. I'll let you take over. I might
No, I
remember.
was just saying, like, I definitely think it's different on the women's side too. And kind of going back to the tournament that we're now banned from, there's always there's a lot of better men in general that are amateurs, but for women, you just don't see that. So like women like me and like even Crystal Elliott, who I bowled with at the last tournament that we did bowl at, before we got banned, we were both averaging like 230, and like there's a girl who has like, let's say 36, but then she shoots 260. It's like, as a scratch bowler, like we can go out on tour and make cuts, Crystal makes shows, like she just won team trials, but like we were forced to literally only be able to miss once, and it has to be in the 10th frame, so there's like a lot of women who like that, if they don't desire to go out on tour, they just want, and if they want to bowl tournaments, they will sandbag because they have nothing else to attain to, whereas there's more for the men to obtain, so the men don't necessarily do it as much. But specifically for the women, I do not bowl tournaments unless I'm bowling with the men, and I will not show up to women's tournaments with handicap, even if it's sport, because they're not really like, even with the average adjustment, if they can still make a spare and they can shoot 200 on the US Open with their 36, like we all know 230 on the US Open is not really obtainable every single game. So even more on the women's side, it's just like frustrating because I'm like, I know I can go out on tour and make cuts and bowl well and make money, but it's like almost impossible in tournaments around the country that are handicapped for women because there's just not enough women trying to get to that level. So a lot of them just stay in that where their husbands or whatever will be like, hey, remember, like, don't make as many spares in league.
Keep your average down. Remember, this is for us.
And we've had friends like literally tell us like, yeah, I tell my girlfriend to do that. Like not recently, but we've seen it in the past where people talk about it and it's like, you can't really do anything about it because at the end of the day, yeah, it doesn't affect the tournament director. And I think that's the problem is, again, it goes back to the tournament directors not wanting to lose people. So they're like, okay, we're okay losing the scratch bowler, the one scratch bowler over maybe the 4 handicap bowlers that can beat them because they continue to put money in my pocket.
Yep.
And also going back to the environment thing, it's a lot easier for a 180 average bowler to hit their average or exceed it
or more, sure,
on an easier shot.
Yeah.
But when you're told, and it's honestly flawed because of our handicap. So if you're bowling a tournament 90% of 230 and a 180 average bowler shoots a 210 because it's the Great Wall of China, well, that means that us scratch bowlers have to shoot 260, 270 in order to keep up with the pace because those people are hitting their average. My highest average ever in a season is 247. So that means that if I were to hit my average and the handicap bowler shoots anywhere from their average to 210, I'm already at a disadvantage.
You're still getting crushed.
I'm still getting
crushed. I want to add, I'm going to add 10 cents here. A couple people in chat were talking about my dad and Parker bowling the Monmouth County Masters and how they were crying about it. And that's really, really what bugs me the most about what you guys said earlier about the separation within the sport where everybody's out for their own shit. Like, okay, I'm going to bowl a tournament on Saturday and Sunday, right? And the entry fee for the tournament's $125. Had I not been at that tournament, what would I have done with that $125? I would have maybe gone to Atlantic City. I maybe would have taken my girl out to a restaurant for a nice dinner. I may have come to Butch's house and binge drank all night and ordered pizzas. Like whatever it may have been, I would have spent that $125 entertaining myself for the rest of the weekend somehow. I go and I pay this entry fee to this tournament for $125 on an impossible oil pattern in a bowling alley where the approaches are a fucking ice skating rink, and I'd rather kill myself than ever actually bowl, but that's another story. And I get there, and I say, holy shit, Parker Bone and Johnny Petraglia are bowling, two of like the greatest professionals ever in the limelight of our sport. And my first thought is, fuck this. You're going to let these guys fucking bowl? Meanwhile, first prize is $2,000. So for most people, it's like a week's or 2 weeks pay, maybe a little bit more. It's not life-changing money in any capacity. And the likelihood of anybody that's bitching to begin with has no chance of winning anyway. Nobody that ever has a chance to win ever bitches about who's there in our sport. I relate it to golf. Could you imagine going to play golf and they say, you're only a twosome, we got to pair you up with these two guys? And it's Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. I'm not playing with those guys. This isn't even fair.
Terrible.
This isn't even fair.
It's not fair. I don't want to do this.
Like it makes no sense it makes absolutely no sense to me, because I feel the same way when I go bowl a random tournament where we were in Morrisville, Pennsylvania, and I get to see a bowler that I'm like, oh shit, Pete Weber's bowling this event. Why is Barnes here? Why are the Bones here? Like, fuck yeah, let's do this. This is awesome. To me, it makes me work, if anything, a little bit harder, knowing that there's somebody else there that's going to fill every frame.
Yeah, you almost like want to. Yeah, it brings your level up too. You pay attention a little more.
And I wish that mentality was more in the bowling world.
And it's not. And it's like it never will be.
For the average,
how much we wish it will be, it's just not there.
Yeah.
I hate hearing the word never, because obviously like that is like why I started on social media with our YouTube, is I was like, maybe we can make a difference. Like, not saying me and Nate or anyone, but I'm like, someone's got to make a difference. Like, who's to say who it's going to be? But it's like, I just hope at some point that like everyone, like I was talking to Sean Maldonado last night, and it was just talking about like, not a lot of people are like, I got to get the job done no matter what it is. Like, I got to go to the gym. Like, not a lot of bowlers think like that, where it's like, no matter what it is, I want to win at all costs. I want to be the best athlete. I want to be the best for my family. And it's like, not a lot of bowlers have that mentality. A lot of these guys, I hate to say it, but I'm sure there's a lot of guys that are about to go on the PBA tour that they just started practicing last week to go out. There's no other sport that would be happening. They're not just waiting until the week before the tour. Every other sport, they're training year round, because everyone wants to obtain that level of, it has to be done if I want to be the best at my sport.
And that's why those guys are consistently at the top, because they're always practicing. They're always getting better.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Like, majority of these guys, I guarantee if you took a poll, hey, when did you start practicing for tour? Well, I've been practicing for a week. I've been practicing for a month. Even that's awful.
Get my fingers swelled up and get my ball fittings good. And like,
let me ask you guys this question. And Rob, I want you to ask a question, because I keep stealing this. This is a very, very intriguing convo to me.
Sure.
I want to know your guys' stance on this. Actually, all of you here, and including those in the chat. I really, really want to know the stance here. I'm a big advocate. I'm a big supporter of Bryson DeChambeau, U.S. Open champion on the golf tour. And I watched an exclusive podcast with Bryson recently where he's talking about the PGA golf tour is exactly the same as the bowling tour. Yes, the guys are sponsored. Yes, NetJets, KPMG, Buick, whatever it may be. But those guys pay their expenses every week, just like bowlers do.
Yeah.
They pay for their hotels. They pay for their travel. They have to make their arrangements, flights, rental cars, drivers, whatever it may be. And if you're in the top 125,
hello, Gabriella.
If you're in the top 125, you pretty much got it.
We left her outside in this wind, I think. I'm like,
cold as fuck.
She'll be all right.
She's all right.
She hit the screen door.
Start a fire.
Hold on.
Start a fire.
Hold on tight.
But Bryson talks about it, and the reason that the golf pros are out there playing 36 holes a day, or taking 1,000 swings a day, or putting 1,000 balls a day, is because if you can shoot even every round for an entire year on tour, you're going to make a minimum of $5 million.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that? You make a minimum of $5 million.
The statistic? Is that holy shit?
So imagine telling a bowler, look, you have the opportunity to go out on tour next year. And I'm telling you right now, if you bowl 200 every game for a season, you're going to make $5 million. You think those people
start practicing
a little bit more than a month before?
I'd say 500 grand even if you do that. I mean, even being realistic, you know what I mean?
Because obviously, but I feel like money really, really, aside from the lovers,
Yeah.
I'm including you two here, the people that genuinely love the game, us.
Yeah.
If you were bowling for $5 million instead of, if you come in 6th on the money list, it's 60,000, but you don't have NetJets, KPMG, Buick, Culo, who are the other big ones? Puma, Titleist, Nike. If you don't have those incentive bonuses and you're simply out there bowling and saying, if I finish 5th this season, I'll make about $60,000. I hate
on
to
the
say
other
it.
side of it, they already know that going in, and if that's all they're like, if they already know that that's what the PBA has or the PWBA, it's like if you already know that 60,000 is your cap of just like if I have a decent season, like you already know that going in, so you've already committed to that. Why not do it 110%? Like we already know we're not making millions. Why are you wasting your time? Or I hate to say it, a lot of these guys go out and blame the ball companies and then switch. And, the women don't do it as much, but I see more in the men where like they have something, they have a reason. And it's like, well, how many times did you actually practice? How many times did you go and actually practice your spares? Like you can't complain about the money when we all know what we're signing up for.
Or
kind
what
of thing.
drives me up a wall is those athletes that have backers and they do this. Where somebody literally paying for their whole tour and they don't practice up until whatever, and then they expect to do well and they flag every cut. Now, I haven't had the greatest of seasons on the national tour, but it's all on my own dollar and I'm practicing every single day.
It's also not a lack of trying.
It's not a lack of trying. No, like I'm learning. I'm not saying that I'm perfect or the greatest bowler on the planet, but that's what drives me up a wall is that I'm doing this on my own. And like, I would love to have a backer to, put me out there and not have to worry about, whatever, but I would give 110%. And I would be like, thank you so much for backing me. I'm going to continue to work hard. Whereas some of these guys that I know just have a backer, they won't practice and they show up and then they're flagging everything.
There's no incentive when it's not their money. It's like, it's almost like there's no value in it for them either. Like, some schlep is paying for me. Oh, well, get them next time or something like that. But that's the unfortunate thing, too.
Especially for me, like I won't get a backer because I'm like, I know if I work hard enough, I'm good enough to make a cut and I don't need a backer. So for me, a backer sometimes is like a cop out for that of like, I don't have to work as hard because it's not my money. So
exactly.
People ask me all the time, like, why don't you get a backer? I'm like, I don't need it. I make enough money when I am bowling well enough that if I don't want to give them 50%, that's the whole point. It's like, if you can make a cut, why would you want to give them 50%?
Chris Barber, you have our email. Go ahead and drop it.
But no, like for real, like, it's like with Nate, sometimes like people are like, oh, I want to back you for this. I want to back you for that. I'm like, Nate, why? You never lose money. Like there's no point because you work so hard. You put so much work into it and the worst you do is break even. Why give up 50% when we know you're putting in the effort? And for me, it's just a cop out sometimes with backers because those people don't want to work hard and they know that they're not putting their life on the line every time, knowing that they're going into a tournament 110% prepared to actually bowl every event.
I couldn't agree more.
You guys are nailing it.
I will say that there have to be bowlers out there, and I mean, you guys know as well as anybody. If you've got money in your account, your swing loosens up.
100%.
Yeah.
If you're bowling for your last dollar,
you're tight.
And then it's like, oh my God, if I don't double here to make this cut, not only do I not cash in this event, but I'm not sure I've got.
I'm out next week. Yeah, I'm out for the next tournament.
There's a totally different mindset when you're in dead stroke as opposed to not. And I like what you said there, Elise, because a lot of people never, ever want to have their back pushed to that point. They'd rather have somebody to take the fall for their own, I don't want to say incapability, but their own lack of drive. So I do like what you said when you say it's a cop-out. I don't think that's the case for everybody that seeks out a backer. But it certainly is for a lot of them. It's like, look, I would rather go bowl this tournament, and if I lose, still have money to go to the bar and hang out with the guys afterwards. It's almost that kind of cop out.
Yeah, I just feel like when you get to a certain level, obviously there's men and women who have proved it, that when you get to a level that you have actually put in the work, that your back almost doesn't get to that wall, even if you didn't have the money going in, because you know you're going to do it when you need to make it happen. You know, there's the women that make every single cut, that are 100% healthy, that, you know, they do it and they're making enough where it never feels like you're necessarily against the wall, because you know when the time comes, you are prepared enough to make that double. You're not in your head thinking like I necessarily need it, because you're like, I've done this, I've practiced this. Like, it doesn't feel so much like that, because it's not about the money. Then it's about, I prepared myself to be able to make every cut and not have to think about the money, if that makes sense, because you know you can get it done more often because you're prepared.
Absolutely.
I mean, we talked to Boog about that. You know, when he won last year, it's like it was a whole different, like, he was a whole different bowler. Like, he didn't have to rely on the PTQs anymore. It was house money. Like, he was just able to just chill out and worry about his game and not have to worry about week to week anymore. Same with D-Ron and all the other guys that won last year. And it makes a huge difference when you're playing in house money or you're playing with somebody else's money.
You know,
You're not having to worry about paying the bills anymore.
Rob, my first backer ever was Tim Mack, who we're negotiating getting on the show here soon.
Yeah.
He was my first ever backer. He sent me out to the high roller, the mini eliminator, and before it was the TAC, it was the TAT, the True Amateur Tournaments in Vegas. And he was my backer because I was an 18, 17-year-old kid, and I didn't have $5,000. I mean, I was in fucking high school or just going into college. And like what Kevin said when I backed him at Town and Country, which is now Steel City, Lee Sant's place, I actually don't really. I remember us being there together, Kevin. I didn't know that I sponsored you in anything, because I've never had enough money to sponsor anybody. So I must have been thieving somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this is a really, really, really great convo, because I'm like really, really into this convo about backers, because you can look at it so many different ways, but there's really only two truths to it. One, it's a cop out for your own inabilities or your own thoughts, believing that you can't accomplish something. And I still do it. Look, I'll be the first one to fucking say to all of you, Tuesday nights at Majestic, there's like $85 to $90 in side action every single night. The league costs $40. I always get in the mystery score, and I always get in the strike jackpot because it's like $5,000. But I don't have $130 every Tuesday for 36 weeks to go into side action. I just don't have it.
Yeah.
But I do have somebody that's willing to put it in, and the only time I see him is when I win a pot and he's handing me money.
Mm-hmm.
And on the off chance, like the one time that happened a few weeks ago, I bowled 300 the third game to shoot 764 in set. My sponsor had already left the bowling alley, and I wound up winning high game of the night. I wound up winning the 10 in the row pot, and I wound up tying series pot with Brandon Burwell for like an extra $300.
Mm-hmm.
You bet your ass I put that money in a different part of my wallet.
Yeah.
And I made sure the first thing I did was bring it to my sponsor, who I see bowling on Mondays.
Yeah.
And sure enough, on his way out, I won the eliminator. So he comes up to me, handing me another 100, and I'm returning his 300. Like, that's the kind of camaraderie you need with a sponsor. That's the kind of trust you need to develop when you have a sponsor. And that right there, when you know you have that recognition from the person giving you their money, however they earned it, that's where Kevin says you don't want to let anybody down when somebody's putting you in. And that if that trended more in that area, it would be better. But I just wish there was more money for, we always say this, the amount of talent that is demanded in this sport.
100%.
The amount of commitment that is demanded in this sport, we deserve so much more money.
100%. Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
I'm going to real quick say this. I'm going to use the restroom, but I'm going to use a line from a movie. I want you to tell me who it is. Excuse me, dear. Call of nature.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Very good, sir.
Only because of the accent.
That was very good. It was spot on.
That was my eye.
He just whacked
so Nate, let's just put you in this situation. If you had a consistent backer, would you feel more free, or would you be worried about disappointing the guy that's backing you?
There are a couple people in my circle right now that if I needed something, they do help me. So I'm very appreciative of those guys. To be honest with you, it's the same at the moment. Whether it's on my own money or whether it's on theirs, I don't feel a difference. I know, what I'm signing up for. It used to bother me, like when I was younger, if I didn't have enough money for myself or if I was on someone else's money, I would kind of panic. Like, I don't want to let them down. And, I don't want to seem like, I'm not good enough for them because, growing up, I had a couple backers that, they would see me bowl good at one tournament. They're like, all right, I got you, whatever. And then a couple tournaments goes, I win, I lose, I lose, I lose, I win. And then they're like, all right, I'm going to take a break. And they give up on me. But then as soon as they see me win again, they're like, oh, like, let's do it again. And I'm like, no, like, that's not how it works.
Right.
But nowadays, even if I'm bowling, like, I mean, at nationals, you have to drop a lot of money to do the end of the year brackets and the regular brackets and all of that stuff. And it's no different. I don't, as soon as I spend that money, it's like, all right, it's gone. Like, now I'm bowling, whether it's my money or whether it's theirs. And, I'm just bowling, and hopefully I knock 10 pins down more often than the other guy. And then I look up and, I see my name at the payout table and all of that. But it's kind of the same. I've been doing it on tour for a long amount of time now. And, I've seen my wins, I've seen my losses, and obviously the losses on tour have been a little bit more than the wins, but I end up making that money somewhere else. But, I know what I'm signing up for, and I know what is on the line. And, I'm just going out there bowling like it's any other tournament.
I mean, it's the right attitude to have.
Yeah.
Elise, the fact that there's even less money on the women's tour, are there still backers on that side?
Yeah, I think I had a backer like probably like 6 years ago, and it's like, I think it still exists. Again, I think, and this is just my opinion, because to me, I feel like, especially with the women or the money we do have on the women's tour, even though there is somewhat decent money to make, but you obviously have to probably be higher up in the cut to obviously, or make them consistently.
Sure.
But like, to me, for how much money it takes to be out there, and if you're making a cut, if you're giving a backer like 50%, when you finally do, like, let's say some of the girls I've seen that have a backer, they make like one cut, like that one cut, they're maybe making like $200, but it's like, a lot of those backers don't necessarily even pay for expenses. So like, they have their expenses, they have the tour paid for as far as the actual entry fees. But I mean, unless you can still make cuts consistently, it really doesn't make sense, because, like last year I made almost every cut I bowled, but 2, I think, out of like 10 or 9 that I bowled, and I only made $9,500. So I'm imagining, like, and that's without all my expenses. So now if I cut that in half, to me, it's not even worth all the time and effort I put in to go out there. And yeah, it's like the money's there if you're in the top, but for the women that do have backers, and again, I don't know the situations, but I know some do. I'm like, I can't imagine like how, unless you're in the top 4, how it really makes sense to give up half of your check, which is what I've seen from majority of backing from when people have offered it. It's just, again, for me, if I know I can make cuts, I'm going to go out there on my own dime. If there's ever a time I don't feel like I can make cuts consistently, I'm not going to put in the effort to go out there and do it, because I shouldn't be out there. That's just my opinion when it comes to that on the women's side.
Knowing what I know about both sides, it's unfortunate, because a lot of people want to say, "Oh, the women don't shoot as high as the men," or that's whatever. They don't throw
bowler stops.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like, I was there. I saw you guys bowl. Like, there's some very, very, very good bowlers, and I think the women's bowlers are actually. I think there's actually more women getting into the sport that are really good as compared to the men. I think there's a lot, especially right out of college. I mean, there's a lot of women that are very, very talented, and I think that's on the upswing. But how do you get sponsored? I mean, I know it's hard for the men's tour to get sponsors, but I mean, how do you get more people and more eyes on the women's product?
I mean, I think in general, it's just kind of like what I'm doing. Again, I'm not saying what I'm doing is right. That's just for me. But I think the women all need to find a way to have their own voice and use a way to market whatever their personality is to the audience that will engage with them. You
also have to have a industry, which I don't know how to word USBC.
Yeah, like I think
you have to have whatever sponsors, whatever is making the tour, the women's tour, you also have to have them behind the players. You also have to allow them to promote the sport through their own social media channels without consequences or trying to control.
Yeah, we've heard horror stories about that.
And we'll just leave it at that.
No, you're right about that.
You can't say anything, or else that's the problem.
You just leave it
But
at
no,
that.
you just use the example of like what's going on right now in women's basketball. You have Caitlin Clark and then Angel Reese, who's like they're totally opposite, but it's working for the sport because you have Caitlin Clark who's promoting, who she's just very quiet. She does her shit. She gets it done. She shits on everyone. She doesn't talk about it. But then you have Angel Reese, whether she's as good or not, people are talking about it, but she's in the limelight. She's posting bikini pictures. She's posting that she's a bad bitch. She's like completely opposite, but they're both women. They're both empowered. They just do it differently. We just need that to be okay in our industry or any industry where like every woman is different, and that, you know, like just kind of like my trolls, like some men like tiny women, some men like big women, like who cares? They're all out there. You know, everyone has their preferences. Some like the women who are quiet, you know, as their role model, but some like the ones who are like, hey, this is me, like this is what I want. Like we just have to be okay with that as an industry, within parameters. Obviously we want to promote the sport, but we just need to let everyone have their own personality, whatever that is, and like kind of just foster it and promote each other and let that be okay, and not say like we have to fit into this mold. I know we've talked about this, but it's like we're so big on like everyone needs to fit into this mold, when we've seen on the men's tour even more where like let's talk about Pete Weber. Everyone knows who Pete Weber is, who doesn't know bowling, just because he's so out there and he's himself, and that's what gets us sponsors.
Pete Weber is not the stereotypical bowler where it's, you know, nice and proper and sportsmanship and like all that. He does have those qualities where he is, you know, a professional, and he does, you know, mind his P's and Q's sometimes, but
he's a showman.
Yeah, correct. He's not afraid Pete to tell you to Pete like
Weber, to where
it.
like, you know, he'll have those outbursts. He'll get in people's faces. He'll throw the strike when he needs to act, you know, how he acts. We have to be okay with that as long as it's not hurting the sport or, you know, acting inappropriate on TV or anything like that. Like it should be allowed. It should be okay.
It's just the thing with, sorry.
No, it's I'm just gonna say this because I always lose my train of thought. Two quick things here. Number one, what irks me the most about the women's tour is that it's not bigger. And the reason I say that is I have a younger sister. She's 6 years younger than me. She's one of the best softball players I've ever seen. But in high school, she had to make the decision whether she wanted to go to play softball at a school on a full scholarship or pursue her career. And I distinctly remember her saying to my mom and dad at the dinner table, I don't really need to play softball in college because after that, what can I do?
There's nothing.
There's nothing, right? Whereas whatever shape, size, smell, race you are in women's bowling, aside from the years that there wasn't a tour, and even though I wish the ladies' tour was as long as the men's, because I personally enjoy watching the women, if not more than the men, because of how sound they are physically, all of them. This is one sport, just like the LPGA, where there is a pinnacle. And I feel like the pinnacle deserves more. And it's like, for all women in the world, I mean, like, this is your not only forget the professional level, you can go to college for free if you're halfway decent in this sport, you know? And that always drove me nuts. And then you had mentioned Caitlin Clark earlier. You had mentioned Angel Reese. And I had something else to say about, it was what Jeff said about combining the tours. I watched Piers Morgan on an interview, and Piers Morgan was talking to somebody, and Piers said the reason they have men's events and women's events in the Olympics, and I might get crucified for saying this, but respectfully, I usually try and spit facts. If you combined the two genders, sexes, whatever the politically correct word is nowadays, I'm sorry to say it, guys. I really, really am. Elise, I'm really fucking sorry. But like,
I'll beat your ass in bowling. It's fine.
you're not going to win that much. Ladies aren't going to win that much.
I mean,
to this day, we have seen Liz Johnson and Kelly Kulick make a men's TV show and win.
Yeah.
Have there been anybody else?
I think
Now,
I'm not
I
saying
can name you 100 female bowlers that are better than me. 100. Like instantly, I can name 100 that are better than me. But I don't know if combining them would really help anything. I feel like if anything, it would deter females from bowling the sport. How do you feel about that?
Well, going back to like the PBA stuff, I would say that like obviously I think bowling there's a little bit closer where the women could compete. But if you think about it, through all those events, how many women are actually out there bowling that bowl on the tour? You know, there's maybe only like a handful of them. I do think that if like, let's say all the women that like the top 50 went out and bowled every single PBA event and got better and got used to it, I do think eventually you would see more women making the shows. I do think that would happen. But there's not enough of the, you know, there's not enough tournaments that they've had a handful or more women bowling that actually have done that. Like, I guess like you would have to go back and look, but when Liz and Kelly won, like how many other women were actually bowling in that event?
Very true. Very true.
You know, there was probably literally 5. So I would say, I'm not saying they should combine. I think the right way to do it would be have us all go to the same arena at the same time and bowl. I'm not saying we should be combined, but I do think it would be cool.
Well, did they try that for a little while when they had the women's series after the long layoff of no ladies tour? Like when Joy Esterson won her first title, or Carolyn threw the 20 bagger, or, you know, you got Missy Parkin against Shannon Pluhowski. They tried it for a little while, which I thought was great, but I also hated that it was only the top 2 that we saw on television.
They had the US Open. They combined them at the same time, and it did really well.
Yeah, like, that's the year that Dave Houston and Liz Johnson won, if I recall. Click.
Something like that. It was in Ohio. Where was it at?
I think it was at Carolier, wasn't it?
Or in Detroit?
Didn't they do it at Carolier one year?
I just remember in the arena that they built 4 or 6 lanes, and Liz Johnson was throwing a red pulse on one lane. This had to be 1996.
Oh, I'm thinking.
This was in the 2000s. Well, I was.
I'm thinking of like the year that like Belmo led by $1 billion, and then like
they did the triple burn for the men that year.
Yeah,
I think.
and then like I swear it was at Carolier or something where he led by a mile, and then like Liz Johnson was like leading the women's or something like that. I'm not even sure, but I remember something along those lines. But I will say, to your point, Johnny, and I'm not speaking for any girl bowler, woman bowler. I mean, even as a fellow competitor on the guys tour, like I almost get deterred from bowling because the environment has changed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we forget about that, where I'm not saying two-handed bowling is bad, because it's not. I mean, it's changed the sport. A lot of people are doing it, but it definitely, you know, pushes us one-handers, like, you know,
it knocks some people down a bit.
Or almost irrelevant, you know, and like you can get better, obviously. I'm in that medium range of rev rate. I'm anywhere from like 450 to 470, where I'm competing against these guys that have 550 easily, and transition happens faster. And I get stuck kind of in the middle sometimes, and sometimes I have to get farther left, if not the same as like a two-hander. And in the environment that I grew up in, growing up, I'm not used to that much transition. Now I'm getting to learn it better and be able to handle it more. But, you know, these guys already have an advantage. And eventually a two-hander is going to, if we're taking the whole lane in play, they can get further left than us. They can obviously chuck it farther down the lane. They don't have to worry about this in order to get the ball to go and do the things that it needs to do. It's an art. It's not easy to do. I've tried it. It's definitely not the easiest. You still have to have proper roll and touch. But you know, it's a very valid point. And I think that, you know, combining the men and women, you know, I think it would be frustrating. Some of them would figure it out.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I think it would really depend on if urethane was a thing. I think if you take like 5 years ago when urethane wasn't as prevalent, I think the women definitely have a way better chance, even with the two-handers, because we can just learn to stay in the friction longer, but because of our rev rate. But like in general, I think the urethane is what really makes the difference between the men and women, where we're not used to seeing that. When we do, it obviously is still somewhat of a challenge, even on the women's tour when we throw urethane. But I think with the men's transition with the urethane, that's what really would set the women and men apart even further than they already are with rev rate.
And Elise, you two are both making fabulous points here, and this is why we absolutely love having you on the show. Growing up, got to remember, I'm 40, so most of my bowling years that I did nothing but watch bowling was from, say, 1990 to 2001. And in all those years, I can literally tell you 10 names that I saw almost every week on the ladies' TV shows. We saw Liz Johnson, Wendy McPherson, Dee Dee Davidson, Leanne Hulsenberg, Cara Honeychurch. Who am I missing?
Kim Adler.
Kim Adler. I mean, just like there was always, and then every once in a while we would see Tennille Milligan. We would see somebody who wasn't there every single week.
Oh, Lizzie.
Then
What's
we
her
would
name?
Obviously we got Liz Johnson. We've
Kathy
got
Dorn
Kelly
Lizzie.
We've
Carolyn, yeah.
got CDB. Thank you.
Kathy Dorn Lizzie is who I met.
And that's in a field of approximately 96 to 120 bowlers a week.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just assume of those 120 ladies on tour, how many had a legitimate chance to make the TV show when they were out there against the best in the world and just the ladies? That's what drove me crazy. And I like that Jeff said, have them combined, but like not combined. Because the same thing holds true today. I see Diana Zavulova. I see Liz Culkin. I see Liz Johnson. I see Verity Crawley. I wish I saw more Daria, but she misses too many spares. Like there's the same names that I see every single week that are performing. And to me, there's really only 2 or 3 that I truly believe have a chance out there week to week. I think that may grow to 6 or 7, but what does that do for the other 150 best players in the world, let alone the 1,000 that are aspiring to go out there? If you ever threw them in the mix,
I think,
like he said, the high revs, the two hands, the speed, shit like that.
I think the difference, just from me, like knowing more of the women and being out there, the difference from what you see, like from the women that are up there every week, and I hate to say this, but it's the women that get paid to bowl for a living. They're the ones that literally can go and bowl knowing that they have a paycheck coming in from a ball company, or they don't have to work a job. And I hate to say that, but it does come down to, like I said, like it's not just talent, it's the ability to be able to focus and know that you're prepared for every situation, because that's what you're doing. Just like LeBron, all these athletes, that's all they're focusing on is that game on Friday night or whatever,
Sure.
So not to take away their talent, but that makes a huge difference of the girls that are, okay, I'm going to the bowling center every single day and practicing, and that's my main focus in life, versus the girls who are like, I got to split my time between my job, whatever else I'm doing, and I have to practice. Bowling is still a second choice for 99% of the tour.
Yeah, LeBron doesn't work at the auto dealership and then go shoot free throws, like that's
and
Tiger
it's
Woods isn't changing tires.
Exactly, and then
practicing
and then hitting his freaking 9-iron.
Exactly. So not to take that away from them, but a lot of the girls you're mentioning are girls that literally that's all they get to do.
It's
Like
their job. They were paid. We're paying you to go out and throw strikes instead of you having to bowl in a tournament. Hope you win. Hope you cash. Hope you go to the next one. Yeah, it's a lot of takes a lot of variables out. Really.
Yeah. What do you live by other than bowling? Or is bowling your life?
No, so like I was gonna say, like for me, I'm kind of like that middle. Like I don't just get to bowl for a living, like I don't just get to wake up, go to the gym, go to practice, even though it might seem like it. But with us having like the social media aspect of it, most of our practice, unfortunately, obviously gets directed into, okay, like we got to shoot this video, we got to shoot this, we got to go home and edit. So it's not as directed as we would like it to be, because that is how we make our money, so we can bowl. Now, if let's say a company came to me and said, I'll pay you $5,000 a month, all you have to do is go to the gym and bowl. I'm telling you right now, I'd make the top 5 at every cut, assuming I'm healthy, because I know I have the talent. But that's the problem with, like you said, our industries. We don't have enough money for the girls who have the talent to go and
Elise, you're literally relating to Rocky and Rocky 3 right now. You are Rocky in Rocky 3 when he's training in that brand new gym
with the bubbles and the circus,
all
and
the cameras are in there taking pictures of him. He's like
memorabilia on the wall and everything,
jogging on the jump rope. And meanwhile, Mr. T, Clubber Lang, is in a dungeon,
one light bulb,
working his ass off every day, and he beats the shit out of Rocky and takes his belt in 2 rounds.
Yeah,
whereas. If then you go back to the next fight when Rocky goes to the dungeon with Apollo and he fucking beats the shit out of Clubber because his focus is all there. I really, really like what you just said there. That was a really, really good point.
Yeah, and I hate to say like to take away their talent, but it's just like that's just the reality of the sport. There's a lot of women who probably have the talent to get up there, but it's like if your focus can't be there 24/7, like the best that are able to do it, or their parents own a center, or they have the ability to only focus on that, it does make a huge difference.
Absolutely.
So I can tell you, even in myself, like the last year where we've only been able to focus on, yes, we still have a job outside of it, which is still bowling, but my bowling definitely got better this last year when YouTube and social media was more of our thing, because bowling was still like the main thing, even though it's not fully directed on being able to practice 100% while we're at the bowling center. But my bowling definitely got better because we're in the bowling center more. You know, I'm able to watch Nate bowl more because that's when we're filming other vlogs. Like, so I will say, just even for me, from tour the year previously to this year, where bowling is my main job in the industry, my bowling has been 100% better because I'm understanding the game better, because I'm focused more on the industry versus I used to be a waitress. I was going to work on a casino boat and then practicing in between. Like, that just isn't something that's going to make me the best athlete when tour comes around.
It's a great answer. Thank you for sharing that. Go ahead, Rob. I keep fucking stealing the show.
What is going on? You keep like disappearing. Like, what am I missing over here?
I'm
like,
so sorry. Me and Rob the same shit. We were laughing at the same shit.
I don't have my glasses on right now, so I see like gold. I see the blue shirt. I see.
It's just somebody jealous of me, and that's okay because jealousy breeds insults.
The chat's wilding tonight.
You read the chat as it's going.
What the hell happened to the chat?
Don't worry about it.
Went wrong.
It did say that.
Oops, something went wrong.
Oh yeah, did you guys see our bowling when we were on the cruise? You guys better have watched that.
Of course, we all watch your channel religiously. I don't miss an episode.
We did bowl on a cruise ship.
I haven't. I'm sorry. I haven't watched.
I'm gonna be honest. They're not called house balls, are they?
If it wasn't,
we brought our own bowling.
If it wasn't a 40% off coupon to Popeyes, Rob does not give a shit.
That's true.
Yeah. Wow.
I had to eat at Raising Cane's because they didn't want to go to fucking Popeyes when they were here. So
I'm wrong with you.
Yeah,
Raising Cane's over Popeyes. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Actually, I'm binging Tulsa King right now, so I don't have time to watch YouTube.
Great show.
Lately.
Enjoy
it's
it.
a fucking fantastic show. Yeah, it really is. So obviously I've seen you bowl in person, Elise, and you know.
I was just telling that story to someone the other day. That was the maddest I've ever been at Nate bowling, and I was like, it was the first time I met you, and I was like, this man probably thinks
are you
I'm
gonna say
big...
hi to Rob? And she's like, who's that? I'm like, the dude that we're going on the podcast with. Oh, okay. Let me be on Mad real quick.
No, I was so mad at sitting there, and I was like, he is gonna think I'm such the B word, but I was like, Nate he got to talk to me later about it, but I was like, I'm so sorry, but Nate has never made me so mad bowling in my life from that tournament. Like,
probably the best icebreaker ever, though, at the end.
Yeah, he was like, and I was like, I am so sorry that I don't normally, like, I literally wasn't walking back at all. I was literally bowling and sitting in the first seat I could see. I wouldn't even look back for a whole block. And yeah.
Eventually she came over. She's like, hi, I'm Elise. I know.
I know.
Oh my God. I was just telling that story the other day.
That's hilarious. But look, you are a fantastic bowler. And
thank you, Rob.
If it wasn't if it wasn't for, you know, your thumb, obviously, we've talked about that at length. No, and your back, like you'd be one of the top bowlers out there. I mean, you should be. You deserve it. You put in the time. You put in the work, and Nate's it too. You're one of the best out there, and we all know that. We talked offhand or before the stream tonight, and you mentioned that you're still having back problems. Like, where do you go next? Like, I mean, this has been an ongoing thing for a few years now, right? Like,
I wish I knew. And like, honestly, especially with my social media platform, I don't talk about it a lot because I don't want to sound like a broken record. I don't like having excuses. I don't like to play sympathy. I want to do what I can because I always like to believe, or I know that there's someone out there that has it worse than me in life. So my situation, if the worst thing that ever happens to me is I can't bowl again, like there's so many people that have way worse things in life that they're going through. So I just don't talk about it a lot. I sometimes will say like, hey, I'm not bowling today because of my back. But yeah, I mean, it's come down to the fact that I've tried everything and, I've heard, go to the gym, do this and that. And it's like, sometimes I literally can't walk. I couldn't even sit in this chair 2 days ago at a 90-degree angle. So like, and that's the reality. And like family and friends that are really close know that, but like I am fighting a pretty big battle with my back and I'm doing everything I can. Like I don't eat unhealthy. I watch a lot of the stuff I do in my everyday life to stay healthy, but the reality is whatever I suffered injury with my back a couple years ago is just something that doesn't seem to be like able to fix easily. And yeah, but at the end of the day, I love bowling until the doctors really tell me that the only thing I can do is stop bowling, is to keep it from hurting as much as it is. Then I'll maybe consider stopping. But for right now, I'm just powering through and hoping that eventually something will happen where I'm not bowling in as much pain.
well, thankfully we have a resident doctor here, so I mean,
Yeah.
We obviously know you have the support of us and obviously all the viewers on your channel and ours as well, and we wish you the speediest recovery ever. And if nothing else, I'll at least advance this. This man is a wealth of knowledge in every avenue, and he's a doctor. So if there's ever any questions you ever have, I know he'd be there to offer you his 10 cents. So
can you?
I didn't even know something was wrong with you until you guys just spoke just now. So.
What was that, Elise?
I said if someone can prescribe me morphine, that does seem to work. So when I've ended up in the ER.
That fixes everything, actually.
Thanks,
Doc.
So, I believe it or not, I almost didn't come on the show tonight because like part of my back is sometimes it gives me really bad migraines, and I had a migraine all day, and I was like, Nate, you might have to take this one alone. But finally, some Tylenol cut through it a little bit.
The show wouldn't have been as good if I was just here.
Do you get the aura beforehand?
With that, no, you're 1,000% right on that.
At least do you get like the aura beforehand, like the visual disturbances, or like a little bit of like you feel it like 5 minutes or 10 minutes prior, like you see only half of something, or
well, today I woke up with it. I literally I just opened my eyes. But no, yeah, sometimes I'll get like spotty where like my eyes will turn black and like I literally get dizzy and I have to sit down.
Yeah,
and then
so that's actually the classic migraine. Now, quick little lesson here for people. That's actually all right. So it basically from your cerebellum and the trigeminal nerve. So the trigeminal nerve is your fifth cranial nerve. Fact check me, people, if you need to. And the trigeminal nerve tells the cerebellum, for some reason, it gives it a mixed signal, and it says, "Hey, we're getting too much blood flow going to the brain, so." They turn the valve down a little bit and you get some vasoconstriction and it cuts the vessels off tiny bit. That tiny bit, now you have a little bit less blood flow. There's your aura. Then the trigeminal nerve says like 10 minutes later, my bad. I didn't mean it. Open up the valve and let the blood back through. There's your headache. You probably feel it like this, pulses coming from the back, going around to your eye and everything.
Yeah.
Caffeine is a good vasoconstrictor, or coffee, Excedrin migraine. Ice right back on the occiput, on the EOP for like 20-30 minutes. Long Nate knew.
I knew
that
it.
helped.
Oh, it's just freezing.
Ready to grab the ice pack, and she's like,
and of course a dark room, obviously, and you. But
maybe not going on a podcast. That probably won't help, right?
No, probably not.
But here I am.
That's neither here nor there.
Well,
but,
I'm going to get off of here before.
But that's a classic. That's a classic migraine, and they're at least the migraines suck. They're the best ones to have, at least, except when you wake up with it, because then you already lost your time. You already lost the aura period, so you can never get ahead of it. But unfortunately, and then eventually your body then regulates, and it has normal blood flow. No more vasodilation, no more vasoconstriction, but it's all from the cerebellum. That stupid trigeminal nerve gives a wrong signal. So
Fucking
again, that's
trigeminal
all.
nerve.
I just made all that up, by the way. None of that is true.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Ocho, I wish you were my doctor, and you'd be like,
I really wish I could come off the cuff with something like that. Dang.
seriously, yeah.
All improv.
I'm still trying to figure out if you said trigenital or something else.
Trigeminal. Trigeminal.
Saying, and if you want to work on bicep, just be.
All I know is that cerebellum had to talk to genitals, and you put a nice.
His genitals. His 3 of them. 3 genitals, though.
That's all I got.
Well, it's the trigeminal nerve, and there's 3 divisions of it. Hence, the ophthalmic, the maxillary, and the mandibular.
The mandibular.
Improv.
I'm gonna take his word for it.
Yeah, no, I'm not googling all
Like I
that stuff.
said,
replay the podcast.
He's always here if you need it.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I
For real.
appreciate
I
that.
do definitely. If no, I will. I'll talk to you at some point, and because I can at least I'll get in and at least figure out where the next steps are possibly.
Yes, because I will be honest, the one thing I'm sick of talking about is my injury. Like, I know people probably think I use it as an excuse. Believe me, I'd rather use the
Oh, of
excuse
course,
I just
it's-
suck at bowling. Like,
No,
I'd rather that be the excuse.
No, but it literally is overwhelming.
Well,
because-
that I want to be like, no, I actually just suck really bad today. Like, not my back was literally hurting. Like, I did not.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's also chronic. I mean, even if your back was okay, it still probably hurts. That's just it. This is where it's a chronic thing. Like, it's just a matter of hurting as a 4 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10. So
Yeah. No, I mean, I was talking to someone the other day. I'm like, I probably live my life at like a 6. Like, and I don't like notice it now because I'm just so used to.
But then tolerance goes up too, for sure. No, I got you. I'll definitely. I'll catch up with you.
Yes, for sure.
All right, let's get off the genital nerve for a second. And Jeff
Actually,
Skyer
it's the
wants to
genital
know:
nerve. It's technically the genital nerve.
Do you guys give lessons, or are you thinking about? Are you thinking about coaching?
Yeah, college coaching, unless we are offered over 6 figures, we will not be going back.
7 figures for me.
Well, 6. Well, be reasonable. But
Probably 6.
yeah, but we do lessons. We do online lessons and we do in-person lessons. We have a place to do it now in Brandon, Florida. So we can do lessons in person. If you are not in the state of Florida or you're a little too far from us, we do online lessons. You could email us at nateandEliseBowling@gmail.com and we can set you up with pricing and whatever your schedule is. So we have a lot of people that do that and it has been very successful.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I forgot you guys were in it. My dad lives outside of Brandon in Rufkin, so that's close, close to the area. But
from the network.
Visit us here.
Yes, for sure. Now, is it kind of a case by case basis? Like, just depends how you feel, at least, like how much you're going to bowl this year. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I hate saying it every year where I'm like, I just don't know what my back is gonna give me.
Right. But it's reality. I mean, it is what it is, right? Like,
I mean, it's hard to it's really funny, but I told Nate last year, going into tour, that I was like, if this tour, like I said earlier, like if I can't make a cut, I'm not gonna be the girl that says like I'm a PBA or PWBA bowler. Like if I can't make a cut, like that's not me. I'm gonna step back and do whatever else I can in the industry. If I can't practice, if I can't do the things that I need to do to be prepared to be out there, like I'm not going to bowl on tour. I'm not going to show up not being able to practice and go to the gym and do everything I want to. So yeah, tour will just depend on what it honestly looks like leading up to tour and how strong I feel. And if I feel like I can get through 3 days of bowling at the highest level, which is why I didn't go and bowl team trials. I ended up backing out because I haven't tried out for the team since I was last on the team, and it sucks, but it has a lot to do with my injury. So I couldn't get through 5 days of bowling for however many games we bowl to even try to have a chance at bowling at the end of the week.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks. And I know it does get
no idea until today. You have to forgive me because I haven't been on social media since mid-October. It's actually been the nicest 3 months of my life, but
it's true.
It also sucks when I hear shit for the first time and it's like way after the fact.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
wishing you
it's been going on for like 3 years, unfortunately. It's just I don't talk about it a lot because I don't like to make an excuse for my bowling or whatever. But yeah, it's just because people see me bowl really well and then they'll be like, oh, like, what do you mean you're hurt? And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, I still do work hard and I do have some talent. I've clearly proved that. And then it's just like the next day, it's like my body will not do what I want it to do because I didn't sleep well. And like a level 8 pain, and it's just hard. But yeah, so I think it's like some people like don't understand it because they'll be like, you literally just made the cut last week and this week it looks like you don't even average 150 on a house shot. And I'm like, I wish I could explain.
You know, my response to those people would be was like, I would say, you know what, dude, I fucking bowled for the title last week and went 300 under this week, and I feel perfectly fine.
Yeah,
There's nothing
yeah.
fucking crazy like that. So you don't even have to worry about making excuses or not making excuses. Anybody that knows you or understands. I mean, when I was in Las Vegas about 3 or 4 years ago, right after COVID, I of all the weightlifting I do, I've never had a weightlifting injury in my entire life. And I go out and I play golf about an hour away from my home in Vegas with David Haynes of all people. And I snapped through one to try and pull a golf ball a little bit too far. And I punctured my L5S1. I slipped the disc 11 millimeters into my nerve, and I couldn't walk for 3 months. And to this day, the outside of my left calf muscle feeding into the bottom of my foot, the outside of my left leg, you could stab me and I wouldn't feel it. And the bottom of my left foot, my pivot foot of all fucking spots, has a speed bump. And so like when I roll my foot, it's like there's a literal speed hump in the middle of my left foot. And you want to talk about a no thumber? I can't even fucking get leverage for a year. I didn't bowl 620 for a year after that injury.
Yeah.
Oh, he's washed up. He's this. He was never talented anyway. They're always going to say whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And you've obviously, you know, with the way you talk to the pieces of shit on your page, pardon my language, you've obviously figured out a way to work through it anyway. And just you know your worth, know your talent.
Yeah.
And you certainly have enough people behind you that want what's best for you. And I swear to God, the people that care about you wouldn't say anything shitty about you. So
yeah, no, I
you're
appreciate that.
You're gonna be just fine, Zia. You're gonna be just fine.
I appreciate it. There was actually a turning point for me that happened was like last year. This was when I was like, dang, I am really good. Like honestly, like I didn't even realize what I did. And Nate was even like, and Nate's going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But I had a point, like, I think it was like a year or so ago now, where I hadn't bowled in like 4 weeks because my back was really bad again. And I came back and I was like, Nate, I don't want to bowl this tournament. And he's like, no, just bowl for fun. I was like, Nate, I can't bowl for fun. You know me. Like if I can't go beat someone's ass, I'm not putting my shoes on. If I don't think I can make $1, I'm not doing it. And he's like, no, just bowl for fun, just to see if you can bowl. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'll bowl. He forced me to bowl. I shoot 300 the first game and averaged 266 for the entire tournament. And I was like, I like even was like,
I got beat by 1,000.
Fuck yeah.
That was when I honestly was like, dang, like I actually have the talent. Like I literally hadn't bowled, like not even picked up a ball in three or 4 weeks, you know, and I came in, even though it was on a house shot, it was still like no one was even close to me. And I shot 300 first game and I was like, wow, like I just want to know what it would feel like to be 100% because like if I do that
and average 266, you averaged 11 strikes a game.
I mean, that's what we're saying. Like
for the whole tournament.
She is that good.
He even looked at me. He's like, "Do you realize what you just did?"
She was
like,
bitching. She's like, "Oh my god, I left a lot out there. I don't know if
I missed
want."
2
I'm like,
spares.
literally, she shot 279 the last game, and the guy behind her shot 268, and he thought that he won. Like she crushed the field. Like the dude that shot 260 is like, oh yeah, I caught her, and I'm like, no, you didn't. She beat you by 11, like the last game. Like she.
Wow.
Like and that was the first time in my adult life, like since I hurt my back, that you know I made cuts on tour, like that's whatever. But like that was where Nate even looked at me, like when he looked at me and said, "Do you realize what you just did?" And I was like, "What?" Like it, like to me, it wasn't a big deal because I hadn't bowled, and I'm like, you know, I see him bowl well all the time and shoot 260s, but he's like, "You just did that." Like he's like, "I could never do that," and that's when I was like, you know, I don't want to give this up. Like as much as I'm hurting, like if I can do that, then like I got to keep trying until I find an answer with my back because I clearly have something special. And my parents always told me like, don't waste my gift from God. And that's until I literally can't walk is probably when I will still bowl because of those moments where I'm like, dang, like.
It's true. I truly believe people are predestined to be doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like I believe that certain people have a gift, whether it's, you know, drummers or musicians. I mean, like there's a lot of shit that a drummer can do that I'm like, how that's like unfathomable to me.
Yeah.
You can practice all you want. It doesn't mean you're going to be a good bowler. It doesn't mean you're going to be good at anything. Like people are born with a gift. You're exactly right. And I think you are one of those. I think Nate is too. Nate has, how many people on this program, Johnny, have said, like, I love watching Nate bowl. Like, he's so fucking smooth. Like, Troy Lynn's like, I wish I had your fucking release. I mean, it's like,
you hit the nail on the head. I mean, what's crazy is that happens across the board all the time in any sport and whatever you do. I'm pretty sure that Rory McIlroy wishes that he putted like Ricky Fowler. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that Ronnie Coleman wishes he had Jay Cutler's legs. I'm pretty sure that Barry Bonds wished he had the speed of Ricky Henderson. Everybody that's that good or has that gift is always going to want to be better. I'm sure everybody wants to be as accurate as Parker Bone or as talented as EJ Tackett or Jason Belmonte or Anthony Simonson. I feel like everybody wishes they could strike out in every 10th frame like Pete Weber for 40-something years.
Or Liz Johnson.
Or Liz Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean,
she won't let go.
The pursuit of perfection never, ever ends for anybody, especially the gifted ones that can hone their skills. Or trip as many fours as P. Dom, which obviously yes, P. Dom.
Or be as good as Bug Crawl because I see him in here. But yes, I agree.
Here's to you, Bug. I'm going to drink some Tennessee whiskey for you.
Looks like piss.
Okay.
Hey, don't.
But that's always
that's our product here.
Is that what it is?
God, that was gross.
I don't like it either. I think
and I didn't bring any tonight.
It's disgusting. No, I agree. But like, Nate, we talked about it, like, how hard it is getting out of the PTQs, and we saw, several people do it last year. Our buddy Boog here in chat is one of them. You mentioned you're not going to be bowling you're only going to be doing 2 PTQs this year.
Yes, we'll be doing Delaware and the TOC.
No, you're not going to need to because you're going to win in Delaware.
You're going to win Delaware. Sorry, Boog.
You only need 1 PTQ. That's it.
Yes, and then I'll be in the TOC.
Right.
I do have to bowl the Delaware PTQ.
And then you're good for 10 years. Like, you got to speak it into existence.
Yeah, that's
F
fine.
the other PTQ. 1 and done.
I told Nate this before we started, like, you got to be in the right headspace, and you need to be confident. You need to have that swag. You need to know that you're as good as anybody else.
What the mind believes
on the tour
conceives, brother.
Speak
it into the world, man. Just
yeah.
Dream about it. Think about it when you're sitting out. Think about
write it down.
Not only making the finals, think about making TV. Think about how you're going to feel on TV. Visualize yourself as a person in the crowd watching you from the back. Think about everything that you dream about all the time. Do you know what my fucking favorite thing to do is? Even when I'm bowling in league and I'm on the front 9, I think about a video that somebody sent to me of my last 300, and I think about watching it and watching myself from the back. So I'll say to myself, oh yeah, new blue hammer in the video with the white shirt. Do that. But as I'm getting to the foul line, I'm watching myself from the back achieve perfection.
Truth.
I we'll get to that, but yeah, like, I mean, like she just said, give it to the universe and just allow it to happen.
Johnny, I love how you said that, and I've never thought about it that way. I'm actually going to start thinking about it that way. I think that, I'm very thankful that a lot of people think that I throw the ball good. You especially, I look up to you. A lot of the pros that have, believed in me and all of that. It's an honor to have, people in my corner that would take the time just to say, like, you throw it good. Like, why aren't you doing this? Like, I believe that you can win. I've had talks with Jason Belmonte, and he's literally said the same thing to me, and he doesn't have to. I'm literally a nobody to him. And he took the time out of his day to message me back and talk to me about mental things and all of that stuff. And I guess where I was going with that is that growing up, I did not have confidence because I was always the kid in school that didn't fit in or was picked on, but I went to the lanes because that was my sanctuary. That was the place that I could be myself. And, thankfully for, the amount of work that I put in, it's paid off. And there is a lot of people that believe in me, and it has instilled a lot of confidence for me to continue to, embrace this game that we all love and try to get better at. And I think that showed the last 2 years on the regional tour. I haven't won since 2018, and in the last 2 years, I've won 5 regional titles. And that's not to, like brag or anything about that, but one, something was finally clicking, seeing the lanes. And two, when I was put in that position, I was no longer scared at the moment. I wasn't like, oh, I don't belong here. Oh, he's supposed to win. It's like, no, this is my time now. This is like, there's so many people that believe in me, including, my wife, my close friends, the people that I've even be able to bowl doubles tournaments with. I bowled with Walter Ray and we won a regional title. I bowled with John Rakowski and we won a regional title. I bowled doubles tournaments with Kyle Troop. Like, a lot of people can't say that they have done that. And for
you
me,
bowled with AJ Rice, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about
Danny Wiseman.
Danny Wiseman's also
We love
another
Danny.
one. Yeah, we won a tournament together.
I talk to Danny every day.
Yeah, like, Danny's amazing and AJ as well. And there's just so many people that I have been able to, whether it's team up with them or cross with them or whatever, people can't say they've done that. And then they would want to go out of their way to team up with me or say that you're a great bowler. Like, I can't wait to see you succeed. We need more of that in our sport. And I know that it's such a cutthroat environment to where, we all need a chance to win. But to just take the time to elevate somebody else to get to that level, because you don't know the struggles they're going through. They're probably going through the same, if not worse than you, to try to win a regional title. There's so many people that wish they could win at least one. And, for me to win 6 is like absolutely amazing. I don't take that moment for granted. When I finished second in those events, now, luckily it hasn't been a lot of times, I sit back and reflect and I'm like, okay, that was awesome. But, am I able to get this opportunity again? And I want to be here again. So I want to keep working harder. And I don't want to just do it for myself. I want to do it for, for my family, my friends, my teammates, my, people that look up to me and people that I have looked up to. So I think
just remember a few things here, and then I'll let you keep going. And then I know we've kept you guys here for almost 2 hours. Just remember a couple things on top of visualizing yourself from the back. Number one, Walter Ray Williams Jr., who you've obviously done a lot of work with, his main goal on tour for a long time was to have more wins than seconds. It was like his number one goal for a very, very long time. In the sport of baseball, there's 2 players in the history of the sport, maybe 3, to ever bat 400 or higher for a single 162-game regular season. I know for sure George Brett and Ted Williams did it. Ty Cobb, maybe. 3 greatest hitters of all time. Even Tony Gwynn never did this. And the 3 greatest hitters of all time for a single season failed 6 out of every single 10 times they walked up to the plate. Parker Bowlen III, if you go watch any interview, his entire goal in the sport of bowling was to win someday one PBA title. And the greatest thing about the sport that you're in is there's people that mature early, like a Pete Weber and Anthony Simonson. And then there's bowlers like, I think his name is Earl Anthony, that didn't even go on tour until he was like 38 or 37. You can peak at any time. There is no determination of when this sport starts, ends, or when you get the best at it.
Yeah.
If the fact that you already have all of the elements, you already have the physical talent, you already have the idea, you understand shape, ball motion, layouts, pin placements, valves, surface changes, all that shit. You've got all that already. Just every once in a while, since you said you were at some point envious of me, which I don't know why, because I have 0 regional titles and 0 television shows, and I'm fucking 40, and I throw it like a fucking god, thumb in or thumb out. Yeah, fuck all y'all. I fucking throw it like a god.
Exactly. Say it with your chest.
Right. What you have is drive, determination, dedication, and I promise you one more thing. Nobody that's ever doing as much as you or more than you is ever going to critique you.
I swear to God, did I hear it from him?
Ever.
I was literally going to say that.
Belmo said it to you as well.
I swear to God, I've heard that. And I was going to bring that up. But yeah, like
they don't do it. The only people that ever talk shit about somebody else are people that are pissed off about something in their own life, or are looking for an outlet because they have literally nobody to talk to, or they've just accepted how lazy and worthless they are that they have to talk about other people to make themselves feel better. Perfect. Successful people don't do that. They don't do it.
100%.
And I'm not talking about successful as far as wealth or how much you got in your bank account. I'm talking about people like Parker Bone, who is one of the greatest bowlers to ever walk the planet, but he's still the guy that goes and fills up pitchers of water at rev rates and fucking orange slice for the party for the kids from Jackson.
Yep.
While Leslie's behind the desk,
100%.
and then travels to Thailand and Baltimore and fucking Ben wherever the hell else he's going to. But
can we all agree like he's the best human like ever?
One of the best, yes.
Like seriously.
Yeah, I mean, like doesn't expect anything from anybody. He says yes to everybody. He's the best at his craft. He's humble about it. He's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
And he would never say a bad thing about anybody.
Yeah.
So I think about it. Doesn't have time to think about it.
So I think that 2025, to put it in short and not to bore anybody else, is going to be a great year. Both national and regional tour. Whatever happens, happens, but I'm really excited for the season.
And we're excited for you. We really are.
You.
Yeah. Both of you. No, we're excited for both of you.
Thank you.
I just hope Elise is back to get out of the way. But
I'm glad that he brought up the timeline thing, because that's the one thing I always try to remind myself. Like you said, I've seen these girls, come out on tour and they do amazing things really quick. And you're like, oh, dang, like I suck. Like I'm not there. But again, like the timeline's not the same for everyone and anything. Like the people that are the richest people in the world right now, not that money is everything, but a lot of these people didn't build their wealth until they were 40, 50 years old. So it's like, you never know, like even Nate this year, he didn't really touch on it, but like, he was like, I'm not bowling tour this year. And I said, Nate, like, just because the other years, didn't go as well, like you're so much more advanced in all of your knowledge and your mental game that I'm like, what if this was your year and you missed out?
Exactly.
What if 2025 was the year that God is finally going to put his plan into place? Like you'll never know if you don't even just go and bowl. Like who cares if you miss the PTQ? Who cares? Like you'll have another tournament to bowl, but like maybe this is your year. Maybe this is the 2025 Nate Garcia tour. Like you never know until you're out there because you put in enough work.
I hate to say it over and over again, but again, Boog achieved his dream. You can be him this year. And if you don't do it, you're never going to know how good you are if you don't do it and compete with the best.
And you have to believe that, like Elise just said, you never know when it's time. So if you truly and genuinely love something that much and you have the means to do it while not interfering with the rest of your livelihood, there's nothing with that amount of talent. I know we always talk about money and it's hard to make ends meet and they don't pay bowlers enough. But truth be told, if you're out there making ends meet, you get to travel 15, 16 weeks a year. You get to visit all these fans of yours across the globe. Forget about the people you're used to in Florida or wherever you're from. You get the luxury of going to entertain people every single week because of your talent. That is something that most people crave. That's why most people want to be rock stars or sports stars or doctors or plastic surgeons. I mean, lawyers, for Christ's sakes. I mean, everybody's got their own reason to want to do something, and just roll with it. And the older you get, the more your brain is going to understand you. Yeah. I'm not saying the game. The more you're going to understand your brain, and vice versa. If you fry out, you're going to learn how to not fry out. Mm-hmm. If you sweat when you lose a reaction, you're going to learn how to not sweat when you lose a reaction. You're going to remember, like, okay, I got to take 5 seconds before I respond. You're in a fight with Elise. I'm assuming at some point in y'all's relationship, she said, I fucking hate you. And you probably said back, well, I fucking hate you too. And then
I can say that's never happened.
Excellent.
There's been other words. The H word is not.
Fine. And then I'm assuming the next time the same situation presented itself, you probably said, I know this is her trigger. This is the woman I love. I'm going to make sure I don't say anything fucking stupid. I'm going to let her fucking let it go. Same thing with him. It's you're just maturing every single year. And I've watched it for a long time, which is why I've always appreciated what you bring to the table. So.
Yeah, this is his year.
It is. It's the year of Nate. And just think, your channel will blow up. Everything will blow up. Everything will Come on,
Nate, you can pull your weight this year on the channel.
Like Elise, the only reason people are watching is for Elise. I mean, come on.
Even if I were to win 20 titles, you know damn well everyone's watching her.
Did you guys notice
also agree. I also agree with that, Rob.
I didn't notice the name. I just thought it was the left or right, but I mean,
I went to type Nate and Elise. I said, you know what? Today it's Elise and Nate.
Excellent. Well, today he's fucking Fat Mysterio, no panties, whatever the fuck else your name
Yeah. Oh,
was.
I just
That was
realized he
so
changed
funny.
it again.
Yeah, I've been changing it all the time.
Meanwhile, I thought the big guy they were talking about was King Kong Bundy. Not Fat Mysterio, so I'm way lost as far as WWF. Yeah, we got to wrap it up, Rob. I have to
We do.
drive
My daughter
back
came in
to
here
my place, and
inconspicuous.
he's got to put the little one to bed. So, do you have anything closing for our two special guests?
I just want to say that I love both you guys. Like legit, you're great people. You're great for the sport. You've been successful not just because of how good you are at a particular sport. People watch your channel because they like you guys genuinely. Of course, you're gonna have your fucking retard pervs out there that want to watch Elise Bowl, but I mean, for the most part, it's your personality. You can't coach that. Like you guys are just born to be good people and to be good at what you do. And I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. Like I truly mean that. Like you two are very, very talented in all aspects of life. And even if bowling doesn't work out for you guys, people still like you and people are still going to watch you because you're engaging and you're charismatic and you're just good people. And we wish you guys nothing but the best for this year. And hopefully I get to see you guys at some point again this year because I do treasure the time small amount of time I had to talk to you guys. So,
well, thank you, Rob. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Ocho. He's not here, but you guys are absolutely amazing. You're great for the sport. What you guys do, you bring a source of entertainment that's funny, light, and just all around great. And we really appreciate you guys. It's always an honor coming back here and talking with you guys and just having fun. This is what the sport needs, and we really appreciate it. You guys are just awesome, and we can't thank you guys enough.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't spend this time on any other podcast. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I would not.
Oh, I know. I've seen some other interviews. They're like, all right, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, but no, yeah. And I promise next time I see you, Rob, I will talk to you within the first 10 minutes I see you instead of the first 2 hours of.
As long as Nate doesn't piss you off or talk about your son.
You should actually walk by him and say, "Who are you?"
Yeah, I'll make sure I'm cleaning the bathroom at the bowling center or something.
At least bring some Popeyes for me so I can at least want to watch it. So.
I think there is a regional stop in Nashville at Smyrna. So
okay, cool. Good deal.
I should be bowling it. So I don't think there's a national stop, or maybe there is. I don't know. I have to look at the schedule, but.
Well, whoa, you okay? Man down.
If we coordinate properly, Rob, maybe I'll take a drive down there. It ain't that far.
That would be nice.
Patrick, sorry to cut you guys off. PD, I will show up to Illinois. You just need to text me. Be for real. If the deal's on the table, I might go to Illinois. So you just need to stop playing with me, and you need to give me a straight answer.
He just told me yesterday he wasn't going to Illinois.
You just need to give me a straight answer.
We love PD.
I just tell you guys the secret to Nate and Elise. The thing we fight about is our schedule for bowling. That is something that we will be arguing at dinner about. Is our schedule for bowling. There you go.
You're doing just fine if that's the worst of your problems. Guys.
Seriously, there's a lot worse to worry about than that. So
no, that's our fights right there.
Good luck to both of you. I will continue to text Nate, even though he doesn't text me, which is
Whoa! You will hear more from me than you will from her.
Yeah,
your number's probably not even saved in her phone.
I don't have his number.
He doesn't have one.
I don't have any of y'all's number, including Rob's. So
my friends, I don't even text my friends, let alone Rob. I barely text him. He has to triple text me, and he lives with me. So.
I love it.
Good shit.
Well, good luck.
Well, thank you guys so much again for another wonderful evening. Obviously, all the interaction we had from all the fans tonight was pretty awesome. A lot of good questions. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Obviously, thank you, Nate and Elise. Looking forward to a great season for you, Nate, and a great comeback trail for you, Elise. Please take care of that back, girl. We need you out there. We need more people like the two of you guys.
Thank you guys so much. If you guys haven't already, please like and subscribe to Nate and Elise.
And if you guys
Right.
come to Delaware and say hi. We would love to see people. We love when you guys come out and see.
Hey, Dougie, come say hi.
Yeah, Dougie, come say hi.
When is Delaware?
It's
Delaware,
2 weeks, right?
It's
2 weeks.
Yeah, 19th, right? 19th?
Is it at Mid-County Lanes?
Yes, it is.
Last time I was there, the mechanic punched me and knocked my tooth out.
I don't remember that because I was there and I saw you.
I think that maybe I'll just watch from outside or just not drink alcohol. But
come through if anyone lives close.
Deal.
I'll be on a cruise, so I can't show up to Delaware. But
I come on my cruise, but you do not come to the podcast on the cruise. That's
all right. I'll make a deal. If my wife lets me pay for the internet package, I might. We might still do it. So I'll do it from the Lido deck where I'm eating and everything. So, guys, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate you guys, and we wish you nothing but the best. Obviously, this year, we'll still be checking in with you here and there, and we'll have you back on this year to reassess everything.
By the way, it was an honor to be the first guest of 2025. Thank you.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I mean, Tim Mack was supposed to be on, but that's fine. You guys were the.
Oh, so we were the replacement.
Unbelievable! I gave you this gossip for nothing. All right,
You did. I love you guys. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye, guys. Johnny, as always, another great show. Addison, did you have
a great show, man.
Yeah, you had a good time.
I bowled 300 again this week, but this
I
time
saw that. Congrats,
it was
bro.
not
Congrats.
at Majestic this time.
Oh, it was okay. Cool. It was at Ocean.
It was at Howell.
Oh, Howell.
Yeah, and then
I
my dad
realized that.
had.
I saw the video. I didn't realize where it was.
Dad was subbing on our team, and he had the front eight the last game.
Ah,
I gotta see if there's a father-son duo that's ever bowled 300 on the same team on the same pair, and the dad is over the age of 75.
That's a heck of a stat. Yeah, that's a good question.
We'll get it. This is the second time we knocked on the door this year, but we'll get it.
Nico, if you're watching, look that up. He's our stat guy.
He's probably already got the answer. But anyway, another great show. Love Nate and Elise. They always bring real shit to the table, and what a really, really fun convo that was today.
Always, it always is. And doesn't even matter if we go in with any topics that we always make great conversation with them.
Yeah.
They're just
Always.
good people.
Very, very, very easy people to talk to.
For sure. Well, Johnny, happy New Year to you, brother. It's always good seeing you. My
Same to
sexy
you, bro.
And tell Oach I said peace out. And we'll be back next week.
Sounds good. I'm working on a couple big celebrity guests for the show that have absolutely nothing to do with bowling.
Oh, heck yeah.
So obviously my dream is to have Jay Cutler on this show at least one day. So I've already got some really, really good ideas to work that. And then one of my dearest friends in the world, good old Flavor Flav. I've been talking to him a lot recently, just going over some shit. And
wow.
I actually was the fortunate guy that got not only him, but his son into bowling when I was out in Vegas. And I would just love to shoot shit with him for 30 minutes, So the trending idea for the show for this year is to expand outside the bowling world and get a little bit more. We're always talking about other sports and other shit anyway, but
sure.
it's all relative to this sport that we all know and love. And we've already got people all across the globe. We may as well try and reach out for some from more known celebrities outside the bowling world.
I mean, why not? I mean, we transcend all of entertainment. So I mean,
absolutely,
no, it is good. Especially, I mean, you do know a lot of people, and you're right. It doesn't always have to be about bowling. Why not? I mean, we talk about everything on the show, so that's a good idea.
We can always relate it. So I mean, we have a wonderful show here. We do a good job. We talk real. We don't, we do a good job here, and I feel like more people need to see it after almost doing it for 3 years as committed as we are. So,
and absolutely,
for sure.
I couldn't agree more. Well, good to see you again, brother. We will be back next week, and then I may be able to broadcast from the ship the week after, but we'll see. If not, we'll have to
whatever. Either way, we'll let our public know if we got to wait a week. And meanwhile, enjoy your cruise with your family.
I appreciate that, brother. And but we will be here next week. You gonna be here next week? She's ready to play Mario.
So am I. That's what Mario Kart or Mario Party. What are you playing?
She loves Super Mario Party.
Oh, we'll love Super Mario Party. Oh my goodness. I'm always Yoshi.
He said he's always Yoshi.
Always Yoshi.
Who are you always?
Peach.
Rosalina. She loves Rosalina. Yeah.
She flies, right? Like she glides across the board.
Yeah.
She always beats me. When she's the computer, she always beats me.
He said she always beats him.
Always. So never mind. I surrender. So all right. I'll see you guys later.
All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you next week for another edition of Straight Up 5 with that guy right over there, the sexy Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, and by the way, anybody here from Nate and Elise channel, please subscribe to our channel. We appreciate all of their subs watching our show tonight. So Straight Up 5 podcast on YouTube.